She sat across from me at the coffee shop, and I could see it in her eyes before she said a word. That particular kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with how much sleep you got last night and everything to do with how you've been living for the past 3 years. "I'm so tired," she finally said, "and I don't know how to stop." She wasn't talking about her schedule, though that was brutal. She was talking about something deeper, the grinding internal pressure that never lets up. The voice that says you're not doing enough, not being enough, not measuring up. The relentless drive that keeps you moving even when your body is begging you to stop. "I thought following Jesus was supposed to bring peace," she said. "But I'm more exhausted now than I was before I believed. Because now I have all the same pressures plus the guilt of feeling like I'm failing God too." I recognize that exhaustion because I had lived it, and here's what breaks my heart. So have most Christians I know. We're collapsing under the weight of an invitation we never properly understood. Jesus said, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." But somehow we've turned those words into another religious demand, another standard we're failing to meet, another area where we're not measuring up. We know the verse, we quote it at retreats and write it in journals, but rest remains something we admire from a distance rather than a reality we actually live. Something for other people. For later, for when everything finally calms down, which means never. Because here's the trap. We're waiting for our circumstances to change before we can rest. We're waiting for the schedule to clear, the crisis to pass, the project to finish. We're treating rest like a reward we earn after we've done enough. But what if that's not what Jesus meant at all? What if rest isn't something that happens when the chaos ends, but something that remains stable while the chaos continues? What if it's not the absence of work, but a completely different way of working? What if the reason we can't find it is because we're looking for the wrong thing in the wrong place? There's a word buried in the Hebrew scriptures that unlocks what God actually means by rest. And when you see it, everything about that invitation changes. It stops being a pleasant idea you can't quite reach and becomes a place you can actually live. The Hebrew word is nuach. And nuach doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean stopping. It doesn't mean taking a break. It doesn't mean collapsing on the couch after you've finally finished everything. It means to settle, to land, to find your place and remain there. When the flood waters receded and Noah's Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, that's nuach. Not pausing, not temporarily stopping. Landing, finding solid ground after months of floating aimlessly, coming home after being lost. When Moses climbed the mountain and the glory of God settled on Sinai like a cloud, that's nuach, the presence of God taking up residence, not visiting, not passing through, remaining, dwelling, making a home. When God promised to bring the Israelites into the promised land and give them rest from their enemies, that's nuach, not a vacation, a homeland, not relief, belonging, not a break from wandering, the end of wandering. Here's the difference. A bird that pauses mid-flight to catch its breath is not resting, it's recovering. A bird that has found its nest and settled in for the night, that's resting. One is a temporary interruption of the journey. The other is the destination. One is just gathering strength to keep striving. The other has finally arrived. And that changes everything about the rest Jesus offers. Because most of us are treating rest like that mid-flight pause, a brief recovery period before we get back to the real business of striving, performing, earning our worth through better and better output. We rest so we can work harder. We stop so we can start again with more energy. We're not resting. We're just recharging for the next round of exhaustion. That's not nuach. That's not what God means by rest. Consider what God was teaching Israel with the Sabbath. After 400 years in Egypt, their entire identity had been slave. Their worth had been measured by how many bricks they could make. They were valuable because they were useful. And slaves don't rest. Slaves work until they drop, and then they work some more, because their value is in their productivity. Then God pulls them out of slavery and gives them the Sabbath. One day every week where production stops, where output ceases, where you do nothing economically useful at all. And in doing that, God is saying, your worth is not in what you produce. You are not valuable because you are useful. You are valuable because you are mine. You can stop and the world will not fall apart. You can cease producing and you will still matter. The Sabbath wasn't a break from work. It was a weekly declaration of identity. You are not a slave anymore. Your worth is not tied to your output. You can rest because you belong to me, not because you've earned it. But here's what Israel kept getting wrong. They turned the gift into a performance. They made rest into another form of work. They created 600 rules about how to rest properly. They measured their Sabbath keeping the same way they measured everything else, by how well they were doing it. And the day of rest became the most exhausting day of the week. Jesus had to confront this head-on. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. The rest was supposed to free you. Instead, you've enslaved yourselves to it. You've turned even the gift of rest into another burden you have to carry perfectly. And we're doing the exact same thing. We feel guilty when we rest. We can't stop our minds from churning even when our bodies are still. We take vacations and come back more exhausted than when we left because we never actually landed. We just paused mid-flight, and the whole time we were thinking about everything we should be doing instead. We have forgotten how to settle. The writer of Hebrews makes a stunning connection. He says there remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God. And then he says this, for whoever has entered God's rest has also rested from his works as God did from his. As God did from his. Think about that. What did God rest from after creation? He spoke galaxies into existence. He shaped the earth. He filled the seas with creatures and the sky with birds and the ground with every living thing. 6 days of cosmic creative work. And then he stopped. Not because he was tired. God doesn't get tired. Not because he ran out of energy or ideas, but because the work was finished. It was complete. It was very good exactly as it was. Nothing more needed to be added. Nothing was lacking. God's rest wasn't recovery from exhaustion. It was satisfaction in completion. It was the settled peace of looking at something finished and saying, it is good, it is enough. There's nothing more to do. He wasn't resting to recover. He was resting because the work was done. And this is the rest Jesus offers you. Not a break from striving so you can go back and strive some more, but freedom from the entire project of trying to make yourself acceptable through your performance. Freedom from the crushing weight of believing that you are not yet enough and must keep working, keep achieving, keep producing until you finally are. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden. What are you laboring under? The belief that your worth depends on your output. The pressure to prove yourself valuable through better and better performance. The exhausting conviction that you must earn your place in the world, earn God's approval, earn the right to be loved. And Jesus says, it is finished. The work is done. You can stop now, not because you've finally done enough, You will never do enough. That's the whole point. You were never supposed to. Someone else has done the work that needed to be done. The striving can stop because the earning is over. This is why Jesus connects rest to his yoke. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. A yoke is a work instrument. Jesus isn't offering you escape from all work. He's offering you a different kind of work. Work that comes from a settled place rather than a striving place. Work that flows from rest rather than grasping toward it. And the difference is everything. When you're working to prove yourself, every task is heavy because it's carrying the weight of your identity. Every obligation is a test you might fail. Every day is another chance to fall short. The burden is crushing because you're not just doing the work. You're trying to earn your worth through the work. But when you're working from a place of already being accepted, already being loved, already being declared enough, everything changes. The same tasks that crushed you before become manageable now. Not because they got easier, but because you're no longer carrying the weight of your entire identity on your back while you do them. The yoke is easy, the burden is light. Not because following Jesus requires no effort, but because the effort is no longer trying to earn what you've already been given. Here's the question that exposes where you really are. If you could no longer do anything productive, would you still have worth? If an illness took away your ability to work, your capacity to serve, your usefulness to anyone, would you still matter? Would God still love you? Would you still be valuable? For many of us, the honest answer is terrifying, because somewhere along the way, we stopped being human beings and became human doings. Our identity got fused to our productivity. Our worth got tied to our usefulness. And now we don't know who we are when we're not producing something. I learned this the hard way. There was a season when my entire sense of self was wrapped up in what I could accomplish. I was doing meaningful work, important work, work that genuinely helped people. From the outside, my life looked full and purposeful. From the inside, I was drowning, because underneath all the activity was a desperate, exhausting need to prove myself, to justify my existence through my output, to earn my place in the world by being useful enough that people couldn't afford to let me go. Every accomplishment just raised the bar for the next one. Every completed project revealed 3 more waiting behind it. The finish line kept moving, and I kept running, and somewhere deep down I knew I would never arrive because there was no destination. The whole system was designed to keep me striving forever. And then my body gave out. An illness forced me to stop everything. For months I couldn't work, couldn't serve, couldn't be useful in any of the ways I'd always measured myself. I was just there, existing, producing nothing of value to anyone. And in that forced stillness, stripped of every tool I'd been using to earn my worth, something broke open. God's love for me had nothing to do with what I could do for him. His delight in me wasn't connected to my usefulness. His affection wasn't contingent on my output. He loved me the same on the days when I accomplished nothing as he did on the days when I accomplished everything. Because his love was never about my productivity in the first place. I was loved simply because I was his. Not for what I could give him, just for being his child. And that's when rest stopped being a thing I did and became a place I lived. Not a break between productive periods, but the ground I stood on. The foundation everything else was built on. A settled identity that didn't shift based on my performance. The work eventually came back, but it was different now. Lighter, flowing from acceptance instead of grasping for it, carried by joy instead of driven by fear. Same tasks, different weight, because I was finally resting even while I worked. So what does God mean by rest? He means a settled identity that doesn't depend on what you produce. Rest is knowing who you are and whose you are so deeply that the world's measurements lose their power to define you. It's landing in a place so secure that the storm can't move you. He means freedom from the exhausting project of self-justification. The rest God offers is the profound relief of no longer having to earn what has already been given freely, no longer striving to become what you already are in Christ. The burden lifts not when you've finally done enough, but when you realize you never had to earn it at all. He means work that flows from acceptance rather than toward it. The yoke of Jesus is easy because you're not working to be loved. You're working because you already are loved, and that transforms everything. The same tasks that felt crushing when they carry the weight of your worth become almost light when that weight is lifted. He means trust that lets you release what you were never meant to control. So much of our exhaustion comes not from the work itself, but from trying to carry outcomes we can't actually control. Staying up at night running scenarios, worrying about results, taking responsibility for things that were never ours to fix. Rest is the relief of finally releasing what was never ours to carry. And here's what this reveals about God. He is not a taskmaster measuring your performance and finding you lacking. He is a Father whose love for you has nothing to do with your usefulness to Him. He doesn't need your productivity. He wants your presence. He doesn't measure you by your output. He delights in you the way a parent delights in a child, simply because you are His. The invitation to rest is not God telling you to take a break before getting back to the project of earning His approval. It's God telling you the project is over. Someone else already did the work. The earning is finished. The striving can stop. It is finished, Jesus said, and He meant it completely. Everything that needed to be done to make you acceptable has been done. You can rest now, not because you've become enough, because you've been declared enough by the only one whose declaration matters. So how do you enter this rest? You start by receiving instead of achieving. The rest Jesus offers is a gift, not a reward. You don't earn your way in through better performance. You receive it by trusting that what He said is actually true. The work is done. You are accepted. You can stop striving now. This week, pay attention to the pressure. Notice when you feel the internal drive to prove yourself, to justify your existence, to earn your place. Every time you feel it, let it be a reminder. You are already loved. You are already accepted. You don't have to do anything to make yourself valuable. You already are. And when you work, pay attention to where the work is coming from. Is it flowing from a place of settled security? Or is it driven by anxious need to prove yourself? Because the same task feels completely different depending on whether you're working from acceptance or for it. The invitation is still open. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Not rest that you earn after you've finally done enough. Rest that you enter right now, exactly as you are. Not rest as a reward for work completed. Rest is the foundation from which all your work flows. Not rest when the chaos ends. Rest that remains stable while the chaos continues. The nest is ready. It's been built for you. You don't have to keep flying forever. You can land now. You can settle. You can finally stop striving and discover what it means to simply be held. The Father is waiting. and the rest he offers isn't a break from your life. It's a completely different way of living it.